Hey everyone, this is Marbozir and this is going to be a quick mini guide video for Europa Universalis 4, where I'm going to show you how to beat the Ottomans as Byzantium. Because if you want to play as Byzantium in Europa Universalis 4 or in Europa Universalis 3 for that matter, one of the biggest challenges is not getting wiped out by the Ottomans in the first part of the game. So I'm going to show you how exactly to achieve that. Before I actually get started, one major disclaimer: this strategy is actually nothing new, I didn't come up with it and I don't take credit for it. I'm simply going to show you how exactly it works if you want to play as Byzantium yourself. So I will be playing on Iron Man mode, because if you want to get achievements on Steam in Europa Universalis 4, you have to be playing on Iron Man mode. So that's what I'm doing. Let's go into the game. I'm going to create my save game real quick. And another disclaimer, this strategy doesn't work every single time you start the game. It relies on one or two important events that have to happen in order to make this strategy possible. The good news is, you will know whether it's going to be possible or not in the first 30 seconds of the game. So the number one most important thing is that Serbia needs to be willing to accept alliance with you. This is usually the case, but it won't happen every single time when you start a new game. So you have to be able to get alliance with Serbia. If you don't, I suggest simply restarting the game until you do. It might be possible, it's probably still possible to survive without having alliance with Serbia, but this entire strategy relies on having alliance with Serbia. So that's kind of important. Second, I'm going to flag the Ottomans as my rivals, right here. You have to do this when you start the game, because then, when you flag the Ottomans as rivals, Albania will be very likely to ally itself with Athens. And this is important because I will be taking Athens as part of this strategy, but I cannot declare war on Athens directly, because their independence is guaranteed by the Ottomans. So if I were to declare war on Athens right now, the Ottomans would declare war on me and just ruffle stomp me, and the game would be pretty much done. Another thing. This is the number one most important thing about this strategy. You need to have a big fleet, so you have to be building galleys constantly in all of your provinces. I'm going to queue up 3 galleys in my provinces immediately before I unpause the game, and you should always do this. And you have to be building galleys all the time, I can't stress this enough. If you have to take a loan to continue doing this, then you have to take a loan. That's what you have to do. But you can't stop building galleys. This is very important because this entire strategy relies on being able to beat the Ottoman fleet. And you cannot beat the Ottoman fleet with what you start with. So that means you have to build more, quite obviously. Right, I'm still not going to unpause the game. I'm going to convert my ruler into a general on the military tab, so let's do that. And I'm going to attach him to my army. Then attach my army to the transport, which will leave 1 regiment in Constantinople, and ship them over to Moria, and then recruit 1 regiment of infantry in Moria. Like so. That leaves me with 11 gold. Now I'm going to unpause the game and progress to 12th of November, so 1 day only. This means Serbia will accept the alliance, and Albania will probably ally itself with Athens. It usually happens. It might not happen right away though. So if it doesn't happen on 12th November, you can wait a few more days. But one of the events that happens very early on is that the Ottomans will warn you not to go to war. So if you want to avoid the Ottomans declaring war on you, then you have to declare war yourself. And the plan is to declare war on both Albania and Athens, while getting around the Ottomans' guarantee on Athens. But you have to do this before the Ottomans warn you not to go to war. So I basically need Albania to ally itself with Athens. Okay, now we are on 13th November and Albania allied itself with Athens. This is the second most important thing that makes this entire strategy work. Now, I'm going to declare war on Athens, take core in Albania, because Albania is considered as the Byzantine core. As you can see right here, Byzantium considers Albania to be the core. So I'm going to declare war on them and call my allies, Serbia should join the war. Now, one thing to also keep in mind is that Albania starts the game at war with the Ottomans. So the basic principle behind this strategy is to ally with Serbia and then declare war on Albania in order to make Serbia get into Albania before the Ottomans do. Serbia has to get the siege lead in Albania. That's extremely important, and this is what makes this strategy work. So I'm going to declare war, call willing allies, and because Albania is allied with Athens, this means Athens will also declare war on me. But because Athens declared war on me, not the other way around, the Ottomans cannot use their guarantee of independence as a reason to declare war. So that means I will be at war with Athens without triggering the Ottomans' guarantee. Because, as I said, if I were to declare war on Athens directly, the Ottomans would declare war on me because they guarantee their independence. But since Athens are declaring war on me themselves, this doesn't work that way, and I will effectively get around that guarantee and not end up at war with the Ottomans. As an effect of this declaration, Serbia will be at war with Albania, Albania and Athens will be at war with me, and the Ottomans will not be at war with me. Again, this is extremely important for this strategy. You cannot go to war with the Ottomans until you are ready, and you will not be ready until your fleet is big enough to actually beat the Ottoman fleet. Being able to beat the Ottoman fleet is the #1 most important thing about this strategy, and the whole reason why it's going to work a little bit later. So let's declare war. Now I'm at war with Athens, I'm going to move over and drop my troops in Athens. Now Athens will generally move into my province, and that's good, that's exactly what I want them to do. Now I unpause the game. I could hire one military advisor, and I sometimes do it, but I would suggest not doing that, because then you have to pay extra, and you will need that money to actually be able to build galleys without taking a lot of loans. Royal marriage with Serbia, I can accept that, it doesn't really matter right now. So let's unpause the game. You have to keep an eye on your shipbuilding queue all the time. I didn't queue up any additional galleys because I don't have enough money. I will have to queue them up in all 3 of these provinces before all of these construction queues are done. I have to be building ships in all 3 of these provinces constantly. Alright, anyway, I'm waiting for my fleet to get over here. Now I'm going to unload my troops into Athens, but I'm going to wait for them to move into my province. I do not want to get started, I do not want to get into a fight with them just yet, I just want to start the siege. I'm also going to raise my army maintenance. I'm not raising my fleet maintenance just yet, because there's really no need to do that right now. As soon as I drop off my troops, I'm just going to send my fleet back to Constantinople to grab that one extra guy. Right, so now Athens is sieging my province. I will beat that army, but not just yet. Am I moving or what? No, I'm not. There we go, now I'm moving. I'm also waiting for this regiment in Moria to finish recruiting. So it should be done sometime soon. Oh, did I actually queue that up? Oh yeah, right, I can't queue up the galley while recruiting the regiment. That was a bit of a screw up on my part, but it's okay, it doesn't ruin the strategy. So what you have to do is queue up the infantry regiment in Moria first, and then queue up the galley. I screwed that up a little bit, but it doesn't ruin this entire strategy just yet, it's fine. So now I'm just going to wait for that one regiment to finish recruiting, and as you can see, the Ottomans right now are fighting Albania, and they will have the siege lead. The important part here is that Serbia has to get the siege lead. But even though the Ottomans are here, they might dance around a little bit and give the siege lead to Serbia. This is what quite often happens anyway. So it's not end of the world just yet. You just need Serbia to start sieging Albania. That's one of the important parts of this strategy. It will generally happen. If it doesn't, you just have to restart this. And as you can see, Serbia has the siege lead in Albania right now. And they have to keep it. Serbia is not at war with the Ottomans, that's the important thing to realize. The Ottomans already start at war with Albania in the first place. Serbia only declared war on Albania because I called them as my ally, but the Ottomans are not at war with Serbia, so they cannot attack Serbia's army. So that means that once Serbia gets siege lead, the Ottomans can't take it. Anyway, my troops are about to arrive in Athens. Not just yet. I'm waiting for that regiment to finish recruiting, and then I will move into my province to attack this army and beat it. I am waiting for my morale to go up still, but it should be at maximum right now. Yeah, it's at maximum, so I'm just waiting for this regiment to finish recruiting. It would have been done already, but I queued up that galley first, which was a bit of a mistake, but as I said, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't ruin this strategy. Right, I didn't actually queue up my galleys either. But this is because I'm commentating and playing at the same time, which is not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So I'm going to queue up some more galleys. You can't queue them up right away, unless you take a loan on day one. Actually no, I'm still building the one in Constantinople. Oh yeah, right, no, it's fine. I just got confused. It's because my province is under siege, so I can't progress the construction. And I can't build the galley in Borneo just yet because I'm recruiting that regiment. And there we go, that's the warning that I was talking about. So the Ottomans warned me not to go to war with any countries. But this only works if I declare a new war after this warning. They cannot join my war when I'm already at war before this happens. So this is extremely important. You have to declare this war before that warning happens. It's not in effect when you start the game. And the fact it's not in effect is what makes this strategy possible. Right, my regiment is almost done. I'm going to move in. My morale is at 100% and they are actually moving down here, okay. That means they will engage my regiment down there. This is not what usually happens actually. It will be done in just a moment, it's already done. But I'm going to engage them anyway, obviously. Oh no, I can't actually finish recruiting them. But I should be able to beat this army. This is not what my plan was, but I should be able to win this fight. So let's move in. I was going to grab this one extra regiment, so let's do it. And now I'm going to use this one regiment for Albania. So I'm going to drop it off in Albania. Because the idea behind this is that you have one regiment waiting in Albania, and then once Serbia finishes its own siege and gets the gold from Albania as part of their own peace deal, you will take over the siege. I will raise my fleet maintenance because Albania has one ship in there. I think that's a transport though. Yeah, that's actually transport, so that's not necessary. But I'm going to raise my fleet maintenance a little bit just in case. It's not very expensive, so it's generally not a big deal, and I'm still getting money every month. I should be able to win this fight right here. It can be kind of tricky. That one extra regiment can actually be quite important for the outcome of this fight. I did lose one, but I win. So now I can start sieging Athens. And the Ottomans can't do anything about it because they can't join the war. And this is generally how this strategy works. What I'm going to do now is finish the siege in Athens, take over the siege in Albania, and annex both of these. I'm just going to drop my troops off. Where's my ship? There it is. You do have to wait for Serbia to finish their own siege, but they will not annex Albania, they are just going to take some gold from them. So once Serbia signs peace with Albania, you can take over the siege, and the Ottomans won't be here anymore. And this is the whole principle behind this entire strategy. Again, the most important thing is getting allied with Serbia, and Albania getting allied with Athens. If you flag the Ottomans as rival on turn 1, on day 1, Albania will generally ally itself with Athens. At least this is what happened in most of my tries. They won't always do it, but if they don't, you can simply restart the game. It's still possible to kind of beat the Ottomans, but it will be significantly harder if you don't take these two provinces. So anyway, now I'm just going to fast forward the game a little bit and come back when I get enough siege progress. So see you then. Alright, so here we are again. Serbia's siege progress is in the positives now, so their siege should finish any moment now. And I'm also going to show you what happens when you run out of money, because I'm about to finish one ship in Moria, but I'm at 3 gold only, so I will take some loans. Again, you have to take loans if this is what you need to do to actually continue building galleys. But you have to build galleys constantly, so I took a loan and queued up another galley in Moria. This is what you have to keep doing until you are ready to declare war on the Ottomans. I also lowered my army maintenance to 0, because basically you only have to win one land fight with the army in Athens or in your province when they start sieging it, and once you beat their army, you do not need morale on your troops anymore, which means you can afford to lower your army maintenance down to 0. I lowered my fleet maintenance down to 0 as well, because I won't need it just yet. I will have to raise it back to full a little bit later, but it's not necessary just yet. You just need to remember to actually raise your fleet maintenance a little bit later. So I'm going to speed up, and there we go. Now Serbia finished their siege, which means they will sign peace with Albania. The Ottomans withdrew. And once they sign peace with Albania, there we go. Albania accepted peace with Serbia. Serbia got them to pay 55 gold or ducats, whatever. I just called it gold because I can. And now, because I was the only one here, my single troop, my single regiment took over the siege. And fun fact, one regiment is actually enough to siege Albania. This isn't the case with every single province, but you can actually siege Albania with one regiment. Now, my siege progress in Athens is already in the positives, so I'm simply waiting for that to finish while still building galleys. I need to start a new one, so now I'm going to need another loan, most likely. I could wait. No, we are on 2nd November. So I'm going to take another loan. I'm trying to avoid taking too many loans, because obviously you have to repay them later, in case that wasn't obvious enough. So another galley. You need around 15 to 20 galleys to be able to beat the Ottoman fleet. And the main reason why you need a fleet is to be able to block the strait. Because the main principle behind this entire strategy is waiting until the Ottoman army is on this side, then declaring war on them and blocking the strait. When your fleet is in the Sea of Marmara, the Ottoman army cannot move through here as long as you are at war, unless they beat your fleet. So this is why you need a big fleet. You need to be able to block the Sea of Marmara, trap the Ottoman army in here, so that they can't go through. And then you will be able to siege all of their provinces, while they won't be able to do anything about it. They might try to transport their troops across, but if they do that, you can leave one single ship or one single galley in the Sea of Marmara and attack their fleet in the Aegean Sea. This happened to me once. They tried to ferry their troops across using their transports through the Aegean Sea, but again, if that happens, you just leave a single galley in the Sea of Marmara to maintain the blockade and go attack the Ottoman fleet. I will actually hire an admiral. Yeah, whatever, that doesn't matter. I will hire an admiral for my fleet, because that might be necessary. I would generally suggest hiring an admiral and attaching him to your fleet, because you really need to be able to beat the Ottoman fleet. You sometimes won't have to go into a fight with the Ottoman fleet, but you have to assume that you will. Right, so now the siege of Athens is done. However, you can't sign peace with Athens just yet. You have to wait. Actually, no, I got that wrong. The war is declared on Albania. So, if you finish the siege in Albania before you finish the siege in Athens, then Athens will automatically get peace with you as well. So this means you have to annex Athens before you finish the siege in Albania. This is a very important thing to know. So I'm going to pause the game real quick, and I'm going to go for full annexation, obviously. Send demand, and now I will get peace with Athens while still being at war with Albania. If I did this the other way around, the war would end without me annexing Athens. So the order is very, very important. If you screw up the order, you will end up with Albania only and without Athens. That's really, really important. I can't stress it enough. Okay, let's get a few more ships. I'm not optimizing these ships very well. They should be queued up constantly. But this is partially because I'm playing and talking, commenting at the same time. But it's not really that big of a deal. You can afford a few days without galley construction. The most important thing is that you need a fleet big enough to beat the Ottoman fleet. I already got quite a lot of galleys here. I'm shooting for around 15 before the war declaration. So let's start one more in here. I don't actually have enough money. I'm actually going to wait a month or two. I don't want to take too many loans, because it can be hard to repay them later if you take too many. Okay, I'm not moving here just yet. I'm just going to let that single guy to finish that siege. Although I could technically grab my ships and transport my 4 regiments over to Albania just to make it go faster. I can't go through the Ottoman territory, obviously, without actually declaring war on the Ottomans, and I'm not doing that just yet. So let's attach them here and move over. And obviously, while doing all of this, you can do your regular management, so you can spend your diplomatic points and so on. You can't spend too many diplomatic points though, because you need some of them to actually annex Athens, for example. But you can spend some of your points, administrative points and so on. I sometimes hire one advisor, but I would generally not suggest doing that, because again, you need your gold to actually be able to build the galleys in the first place. And this already requires a few loans, so that's why I do not hire a single advisor right now. It is possible to hire advisors though, so if you want to start saving up points for the later stage of the game, you can absolutely do this. And take some extra loans if you so desire. I just opted to save my gold instead of going for early advisors. Anyway, now I'm going to wait for siege in Athens to finish. This guy can stay here. I should be at my force limit, or yeah, I can get 2 more regiments. But I won't be recruiting these regiments yet, because I still need my gold for the galleys. Gold is one of the problems in the early stage of this strategy. So I'm going to wait for my siege in Albania to finish, and we will go to the important part. Fighting Ottomans. Well, hopefully I will not actually fight the Ottomans, I'm only going to fight their fleet. This whole strategy is based on not actually engaging the land army the Ottomans have. There we go, the siege is over. So now I'm going to annex Albania. Full annexation. And it should be done. Alright. I could get started on culture conversion in Albania, and I usually do that. It only requires 25 diplomatic points and it takes 1 year. It will increase your tax, because you get minus 33% tax modifier when culture is Albanian. Albanian is not an accepted culture in Byzantium, so you have to convert it to get the full tax. So now, the second phase of this strategy. Well, first of all, actually getting enough galleys, because that's kind of important. I should have quite a lot of galleys at this stage. Let's build 1 more. Yeah, I need to take another loan, or I can just wait 1 month to get extra money. My fleet is reasonably big right now. The Ottomans have 7 galleys, so I should be able to beat them. Yes, this should be enough. So now the most important thing is, you have to wait until the entire Ottoman army is on this side of Constantinople. And then declare war while blocking the strait. And have your fleet big enough to be able to beat the Ottoman fleet, because then the Ottomans will not be able to attack you and break the blockade. That's what this entire strategy is based on. Having the Ottomans not able to break the blockade. And their army will not be able to move to this side. You cannot go through here when Sea of Marmara is blockaded. So I'm going to wait just 1 moment longer to finish these 2 last ships. I don't want to take any risks. So I could declare war right now, but I'd rather wait for these last 2 ships to finish, just to make sure that I'm actually going to win. Now I'm going to make sure my fleet maintenance is on full, because my morale needs to be at 100% before I actually declare war. If you forget to raise your fleet maintenance to full, you will lose your entire fleet to the Ottomans. This is extremely important. It's so easy to forget about this. So now my fleet maintenance is at 100%. I kept my army maintenance at minimum, because if all goes well, I will not have to fight anyone here. So I could actually recruit 2 more regiments, just to have more troops to siege all of these provinces. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's grab 2 more infantry regiments right here and right here. It's not necessary, but I just need more troops to be able to siege all of these provinces. And now I'm just waiting for my morale to go up. My admiral is in here, and the entire Ottoman army is on this side, on the south side. They have no troops in this area, which means that once I start the war, as long as I'm blockading the Sea of Marmara, they will not be able to go through here. Again, I already said this, but this is extremely important. If you move away from the Sea of Marmara, you lose, because you will not be able to win a regular fight against the Ottoman army. You just can't do it. It's not possible. So you have to rely on them being unable to actually defend themselves up here. And I think I'm ready right now. I'm still converting Albania, but that doesn't really matter. So, let's do it. I have 15 galleys, which generally should be enough. The Ottomans will not be able to beat my fleet like this. So, let's declare war. Declare war. The casus belli that you use doesn't really matter a lot. You do need to have some diplomatic power saved, because the goal here will be annexing as many provinces as possible. So if you choose to spend some of your points just to do the regular management, do not spend your diplomatic points, you will need them. But before I actually declare war, I can pick one of these missions. So I can pick this mission to take Thessaly, which will give me extra 10 prestige and 25 administrative power. There's usually a mission right at the start of the game to take Athens, so I should have picked that. I would suggest checking that when you actually start the game. It's not necessary, but you can get some extra power points for doing it. So, let's declare war. This is the fun part. I could call willing allies, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. Serbia generally won't join you anyway, and you don't want Serbia taking sieging provinces. So declare war. The important thing to check is that your fleet needs to be in the Sea of Marmara already, and your fleet maintenance needs to be at 100%, and your fleet morale needs to be on full. Again, I said this already, but I can't stress it enough. If you don't check for all of these things, you're going to lose. So now, let's pause the game for a moment. Now, I'm going to siege as many provinces as possible. Take note which provinces actually have the Byzantine cores. So, Byzantium considers all of these provinces as cores. These 3. So, you should siege at least these 4 provinces before you go for any kind of peace deal. What I usually do is siege as many as possible to get my war score as high as possible and get the best possible deal. There will be some rebels generally. There will be Bulgarian rebels in these 2 provinces up here while you are at war with the Ottomans, and they will not be able to deal with them, so I would suggest avoiding rebel groups and not getting into a fight with them. You need to be careful about that. Alright, let's move in here. I should be able to siege at least 2 provinces at once, but now the Ottomans can't do anything about it. They won't even try to engage my fleet, as you can see, because their fleet is not nearly big enough to actually win against me, and they know they would lose. So they will just stay here and chill in their port, in Edirne. Right, lose ferry legitimacy. Yeah, let's lose ferry legitimacy, I guess. I could be using my diplomats right now, and again, if you plan to play this as a regular full game, you should be optimizing this more than I am. So you should be sending your diplomats to other nations to influence relations and so on and so forth. I'm not actually doing this because this video is for the sole purpose of actually showing you how to survive as Byzantium. And I need one diplomat to actually be able to negotiate deal. But if you want to optimize, you should be using your diplomats constantly, and just send one of them back home when you want to sign the deal. Right, so now I'm just going to continue all of these sieges. I should be able to get one extra... No, I can't get more regiments, okay. Right, I converted Albania, but now this is the kind of boring part. You just need to make sure your fleet stays in the Sea of Marmara, the Ottomans stay in there. You need to keep an eye on the Aegean Sea, because sometimes the Ottomans will try to ferry their troops across through the Aegean Sea using their transports. This happened in one of my attempts. But you can stop it by leaving 1 or 2 galleys in Sea of Marmara to maintain the blockade and then just engaging the Ottoman fleet. You just need to keep an eye on it. Because obviously, as I said, with so few troops, you can't afford to fight the Ottoman army. And this is pretty much done. All you have to do now is to siege all of these provinces, get a peace deal, grab all of your cores, and continue the game. So I'm going to skip this video and come back to you when I finish all of my sieges. See you then. Alright, so here we are again. I completed siege of quite a few provinces, and one important note, I would actually strongly suggest sieging their capital first, which is Edirne, because if you don't, you will keep losing war score until you actually take control of the capital. So you should definitely start sieging all of these provinces from their capital. I still got some provinces to take, however, they actually moved their fleet out of their port, because they were sitting inside that port constantly, which means I can take some of my ships to actually attack that fleet and raise my war score. It's a little bit risky, but if you want to maximize your war score, you should try to actually beat their fleet actively. They do have one ship in here, so I don't want to leave just one galley behind. That might not be enough. I'm going to leave, let's see, 1 galley, 2 galleys. I could also leave the bark behind. That's a light ship. So this should be enough, and this should be enough to beat this. Alright, let's do it. They have 5 light ships and 7 galleys, from what I can see. I got the Admiral, and this should be enough to maintain the blockade. You just need to be careful not to actually lose that fleet, because then you won't be able to actually maintain the blockade. So if you leave the Sea of Marmara with most of your fleet, you need to be extremely careful. So now I'm just withdrawing back to the Aegean Sea. They did break the blockade in here. I need to watch where they are actually moving with their fleet. I mostly wanted them to move because I was losing war score from this blockade. I can take a look at my war score right now. Yeah, I was losing 3 or 4 points because they were blocking one of my ports. So they are not doing it anymore, so that's okay. I'm still sieging 2 more provinces, so I'm going to wait for that to finish. The general goal is to have enough war score to, at the very least, take your 4 core provinces. There are 4 provinces that are cores for Byzantium. And these are these 4: Epirus, Thessaly, Monastir, and Macedonia. You have cores in these, so if you annex all 4 of these, you will not have to spend any administrative points to actually create cores. I sometimes take Sofia as well, for example, but what additional war goals you add is entirely up to you. Let's have a look how much war score do I need. So I need... yeah, I need more than this. I need 37, so I need 17% more. Actually no, I added the wrong province there. That's the one I need to add. So I need 32. That's not a problem, I will get 32. I just need to finish some more sieges. You can get enough war score without actually beating their fleet. It's not required to actually succeed. I absolutely did this before without beating their fleet. You do get quite a lot of war score by actually beating their main fleet though. So I will generally try doing it if I can. But they will avoid the fight if they think they are going to lose. There we go, I actually engaged them. I am getting a bonus, because this is still an inland sea, and galleys are more effective on inland seas. I should be able to win this quite easily. I would normally have even more galleys than this, but I opted to save some of my gold, because I think this will be enough, and it is enough. So now I beat their main fleet. I'm going to go back to Sea of Marmara, and they won't be able to block my ports anymore, at least not for now, which means I won't be losing war score from that. And I got a little bit of extra prestige. So now I'm just going to wait for these 2 sieges to finish. I'm still maintaining the blockade, obviously, since this was the main principle behind this entire strategy, not allowing the Ottoman land army to go here. Because now I can just siege all of this without the Ottomans being able to do anything about it. So I'm going to skip the video a little bit more again and come back to you when I finish these 2 or 3 sieges. See you then. Alright, so my last siege finished just a second ago, here's the notification. So now I have 42% war score. I did get some rebels, the Ottoman peasants revolted, and they are actually sieging their capital now. But I would strongly advise against engaging any kinds of rebels, because you could actually lose the majority of your army. You can train new regiments if you do lose, but it just delays the entire war, and I generally avoid the rebel groups like this. You will get some rebel groups in the Ottoman territory if you want to siege as many provinces as possible, but this is absolutely normal. Anyway, I got 42% war score now, which means I can negotiate a good peace deal. So, you always want to annex these 4 provinces, as I already said, since these are your cores. There are a few things you can do. You can get some gold from the Ottomans, you can usually get a nice amount. So I could add, for example, 96 gold. This requires 42% war score, I got 42%. So I could get these 4 provinces and 96 gold. I could also add Sofia, for example, just to get 1 extra province. Now, this is not my actual core, which means I will have to spend my administrative points to actually create a core in here. And this means I can't get as much money. In fact, I can't annex Sofia, I would have to annex something else. But I should be able to annex 1 more province. So I could annex this one, for example. I could wait a little bit longer to get slightly higher war score, to get 44%. This is entirely up to you. You can grab 1 extra province, I certainly did it in one of my attempts, it's not very hard to do. You can also just get extra money. Again, what kind of peace deal you sign is entirely up to you. The important part is that you need enough war score to be able to annex 4 of your cores, because all 4 of these are my cores. I think I'm okay with deal like this. So I'm going to accept it or send my demands, and they will accept them. Which means I got all of this new territory. So now I got a decent power base to actually be able to survive the game. This is by no means easy from this point onwards. It's still quite challenging to play Byzantium, but at least now you have a chance to fight back against the Ottomans. This is pretty much the hard part. If you want to continue playing as Byzantium, you can do this from this point onwards, and you won't get wiped out like you otherwise would. So, this is pretty much the end of this video. When you finish this, you will get some interesting events, which should appear on screen right about now. No, not this one. And yes, this one, the Phoenix Rises. Turks driven away from Western Balkans, and this gives you plus 50 military, diplomatic and administrative power, which is pretty nice at the end. So as you can see, I got 750 administrative power saved and 708 diplomatic power. I already raised my military technology to level 4, so now you can do whatever you want. With this you can raise your administrative technology and use that to pick your idea group. You can also use diplomatic points to raise your diplomatic technology. This is basically a regular game from this point onwards. You should have a pretty big fleet, and I'm going to show you just how much I'm paying. Actually, I'm at my force limit. I was going to show you how much extra I was paying for being over my naval fleet limit, force limit, but you pay something like half gold per month extra for having multiple ships over your limit. It's definitely very cheap to go over your limit. You can pretty much ignore your naval force limit, and that's one of the reasons why this strategy works in the first place. If it gets changed in the future, it will be definitely harder to execute this. But either way, this video is done. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.